Okay. Today we're going to go over the parts of the sewing machine. We are first going to start with the hand wheel. The hand wheel is located right here on the right-hand side of the sewing machine. When you grasp the hand wheel, you want to cup your hand like this and hold it. And you always want to turn the hand wheel toward your body. It is always turned towards your body. It is never turned away, but always toward you. As you turn this hand wheel moves the needle up and down. And one revolution of up and down forms a stitch. And also, as the needle goes up and down, we have what's known as the take-up lever. This take-up lever moves as I move the hand wheel. As I turn the hand wheel, the take-up lever will go down and it will come all the way back up again. This is extremely important to remember because when you thread the machine, the take-up lever always has to be in its highest position. And when the take-up lever is in its highest position, the needle is in its highest position. So the hand wheel, the take-up lever, and the needle are all connected. Now let's move to the presser foot. The presser foot right now is in its up position, and that's the way you would like the machine when you begin to thread the machine. When you sew, the presser foot must be in its down position. And in order to get the presser foot in its down position, we are going to put our right hand through this opening and we're going to hold what's called the presser foot lever. We are going to hold it and we are gently going to lower it, holding it as we lower it. So you hear not a sound, but it's very quiet. So it's up when we thread and it's down when we sew. Presser foot lever, presser foot. Now let's move on to the on and off switch, which is very important. Right here on the right hand side, that is where you turn the machine off and on. And when you leave the machine at the end of the period, make sure the machine is off. Right now we're going to put it on because we're going to move on now to the reverse button. Just like a car, we want to go forward and we want to go backwards. And so in order to make the machine go backwards, we want to hold down the reverse button. And when we leave go of it, the machine will go forward again. Above the reverse button is what is called the stitch length. We can have teeny tiny stitches or we can have very big stitches. Depending on what grade you're in and depending on the project you're doing is going to determine where we set this dial. The smaller the number, the smaller the stitch. Bigger the number, bigger the stitch. But for most of your projects and for most grades, not unless I tell you otherwise, the stitch length is going to be set at 2.5. That's the dot between 2 and 3. Now we're going to move up to the button above it, dial above it. And for straight stitching, we want to put this on B. And so for our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade projects, to thread the machine and to begin, we want to start off with the stitch length at 2.5 and the stitch selection dial on B. The stitch selection dial regulates what kind of stitches we're going to do. And up here there's a panel and it describes all the different kind of stitches that this machine will do. Depending again on the project you will be doing will determine what stitch we're actually going to do. But to begin, we always want it on B and 2.5. So when you walk in the room, it should be on 2.5 and B. And when you leave the room, you must reset the dials to 2.5 NB. We're next going to move on to the parts of filling a bobbin. For those who don't know what a bobbin is in the bottom of the machine, and it is filled with thread. Right up here is our bobbin winder mechanism. And we'll talk about that a little later when we actually wind some bobbins. But as far as parts of the machine, you have the spindle and the latch. Now let's move